Hey boyos, daily check-in with John Vee. It is June 18th of 2026. Haven't done one of these in a while. Figured it was time. Not much to go over. I always say that, and it always ends up being a 10, 20-minute video. It likely won't be that long this time, but yeah, I got my smokes order. I did post the video. If you haven't seen the video, just search for my threads and you'll find it. Nothing exciting. Literally just opening a box, showing you a bunch of cartons of cigarettes. That's it. They're good quality. They're all. Each carton is wrapped in plastic. They look really, really good. I'm so thankful I discovered shopping online for cigarettes because literally going to the store to buy cigarettes is literally like, what is it, 20 times the cost. So for literally 5%, 1/20th of the cost, I can support my own outrageous smoking habit of smoking 2 packs a day. Great news. But yeah, if you haven't seen the video, just search for my threads. You'll find it. I'm not reposting it. It's not an exciting video. What else to go over? I still got my whiskey bottle sitting here. I've hardly touched it. I became ill a couple months ago, and I had bought that alcohol just before I became ill, and it was just like a cold that I had. I had that for a few days, and felt like absolute garbage. And when I recovered from the cold, my thoughts were not on getting wasted, and I just haven't recovered mentally from that illness, even though it was nothing severe. I just haven't recovered mentally and wanted to start drinking. I tried a couple times. I'd take like a shot, and it just tasted so absolutely disgusting that it put me off of drinking. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm not doing this today. It's too gross. The longer it sits, the worse it's going to get because it's been opened. And, after hard alcohol's been opened and it sits for a very long time, it starts to taste like shit, right? It's kind of like soda pop. You don't want to open pop and then leave it for, a couple months in the fridge, closed after it's been opened, and come back to it because it'll probably be flat, right? Same thing with alcohol. Um, I'm not a big beer drinker. I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I had a beer in my life, and I don't think I've ever been drunk off of beer. Beer is just so absolutely disgusting. It's like piss, basically, fucking piss. Um, but moving on from that, I'm just rambling on and on and on. Um, yeah, I got my money back for the disability tax credit, $9,700 in back pay, retroactive for the past 10 years. And a lot of those years I did work, so I got money back from taxes being adjusted, which is wonderful. I can use that. I haven't touched it yet. It's still sitting in my account. I just got that put in my account yesterday. But I'm going to use that to pay off my credit card debt. I have like $2,500 in credit card debt. Nothing crazy, right? For me, a debt like that is kind of substantial because that's like 2.5 months worth of income for me. Right. And the remainder is going into a registered disability savings plan. That savings plan is exclusive for people who have applied for and been approved for the disability tax credit. Some of you may be familiar with that. I think Not Bad, Not Brad will be familiar with that. He seems to be pretty knowledgeable on stuff like that. I think he lives in Ontario. So he is a Canadian, and Ontario's GOAT because it gives you the benefit of being Canadian and also benefit of being like an American, right? Nova Scotian is kind of garbage, right? Because there's nothing here. It's all poor people or old people who have retired, right? Prince Edward Island is even worse, even though it is considered part of Nova Scotia. But yeah, I have to say, Ontario is probably the best fucking province in Canada. It's kind of like a hybrid Canada America province, right? But moving on from that, the I called my bank, financial institution, Royal Bank of Canada, and booked an appointment for July 9th to have somebody from the bank open an account for me for the registered disability savings plan, and I can make my contributions then or when I go home, um, into the account. Um, the way the savings plan works is you can invest a certain amount of money each year into the savings plan, and you can't touch it until you're 60. And the government will very handsomely match any amount of money you put in up to a point. And the cap is $1,500 a year, and the government will handsomely match it with a much larger sum of money. And the only catch is you cannot touch it until you're 60 years old. And you can continue making contributions to the savings plan until you're 49. And that is also somewhat retroactive, um, since I missed the last 10 years because I didn't have the disability tax credit approved for me back then. I can make contributions for previous years till to now. So I could have a very handsome sum of money waiting for me when I turn 60 years old for retirement, as a welfare bum, essentially. Right? Um, I'll probably be looking at somewhere in the range of close to 100 grand. So a nice tidy sum of money. For someone at my income level, that's a very substantial amount of money. For some people like Godfred, that's nothing, or Southeast Beast, those guys are balling. They make fucking like several hundred thousand a year. 100K is nothing to them, right? But for someone who gets like $10,000 a year, that's a fucking shit ton of money. I can literally invest in a small house when I turn 60 years old. And also, along with getting approved for the disability tax credit, there's a disability supplement type thing that I also applied for having the disability tax credit, which entitles me to $200 of tax free money from the government every month until I am 65. And that is also retroactive to a point. That program has only been available for like the past year, and they just recently increased the amount of money from $100 to $200. So the government has been doing a lot to try to help the poor people, especially people on welfare or disabled people, because the way it used to be up until recent years, if you were disabled and you did not qualify for some kind of work benefit program for being disabled or qualify for Canada Pension Plan, you were shit out of luck. You were basically at the bottom with the welfare bums, getting, a few $100 a month, enough to pay rent, buy groceries, and that's it. You had no choice but to live with a family member who was only charging you like $200 a month in rent. So, times have changed. A person who is disabled can live a pretty good quality life and buy things they actually want, like cigarettes, and be able to afford them. So, the world is making good steps forward, right? People often talk shit about the government and how they could do such a better job, and that's a load of bullshit. Most people have a problem with authority, and it doesn't matter who is in position of power. There's always going to be people who's going to have a problem with them because it's not them who's in the position of authority, it's somebody else. And it just, some people just, they have a problem with authority. They're rebels. People are rebels by nature, and everybody, I think everybody to a point is a rebel at heart. Um, but moving on, what else do we want to talk about? I just had a bacon, cheese, and egg and cheese sandwich, between toasted bread, and it was very good. I did not have two. I don't think I could have even handled two. It was three eggs, probably almost half a package of bacon, and some shredded cheese and buttered toast. It was very fucking good. I chose that over Domino's pizza because with Domino's it would have cost me 30, $40. I would have overate today and tomorrow on it, and hated myself for it. So I was like, we'll just check out my sister's fridge, see what she's got in there. And she had eggs, she had bacon, she had bread, she had some shredded cheese, she had margarine. So I was like, fuck it, bacon sandwich. Um, but yeah, boyos. Um, I don't think there's much else to say. I still have not cleaned my room. Um, it's quite a mess. It's not disgusting. It's just a mess, right? I mean, there is some garbage and stuff laying around, not so much rotten food. That's pretty isolated in one spot on my computer desk. Um, but yeah, I don't think there's much else to say. Been drinking a lot of coffee. Some days I'll have 10 coffees. Um, and by 10 coffees, I mean it's actually 5 coffees. I just put a double dose of coffee grounds into a cup of coffee, right? Because I find most people make their coffee way too weak. Um, I did have a friend. I watched him make himself coffee at his house one day, and he had this really big mug. It was probably twice the size of a normal mug, and he literally put 10 tablespoons of coffee grounds into the cup of hot water. And I couldn't believe it. I thought he was trying to play a trick on me. But no, he did that, stirred it up, started drinking it, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. He definitely has a caffeine addiction for sure. Um, but yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say. Just wanted to ramble on a bit, let you guys know how I'm doing. Um, the weight loss is basically non existent. I made an attempt for a while. I did lose a bit of weight, I think, because I was walking regularly and dieting pretty hard. And now I'm kind of stagnant, where I'm kind of staying the same, not really walking, not eating a lot, but still eating about a baseline amount. I kind of just eyeball the calories, right? I'm not a complete fool. I don't eyeball the calories and go 50% over my daily calories or anything like that. Because it's been proven that most people who do not measure their calories properly often underestimate their calorie consumption by like 40% or more. And I it's not that extreme with me, for sure. Otherwise, I would be a lot more overweight than I am. So, but anyway, boyos, that's all I want to say. Keep the video relatively short. Peace out. See you online.